guys, welcome back to We Should Talk, a pop culture interview series from In the Know. I'm your host, Gibson Johns, and this week on the podcast we have Lesa Milan from The Real Housewives of Dubai. Obviously, Dubai is Bravo's newest Housewives franchise, and Lesa is one of the more immediately likable housewives that I can remember. I really love her. I think that she's so refreshing. She has a glamorous life. She's funny, smart, beautiful, has an adorable family, a hot husband, a successful business. I mean, she's a lot going for her, and I was really excited to get some time with her, to interview her and just hear about joining the show. And she's at the center of a lot of kind of off-camera drama right now happening on Twitter. It's pretty light drama, but she's she understands the assignment. She can dish out the shade, she can take the shade, and she's getting the people talking. So I had a lot of fun talking with her about all of that, her relationships with some of the women, her business, Mina Rowe, which is really successful and it's expanding and beyond maternity wear, as we see on this week's episode. And again, it was just, I find her to be such a breath of fresh, and I'm excited to see what the future has in store for her on Housewives, because I think that there's a lot of promise there. She understands the assignment, and I think I think Dubai is going to be a great franchise. So keep listening for my interview with Lesa Milan from The Real Housewives of Dubai. Tune into the show Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Bravo. And please rate, review, and subscribe to We Should Talk on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, so we're here with Lesa Milan from The Real Housewives of Dubai. We have three episodes. Episode 3 is this week. Lesa, how are you doing now that we're in the season now?
You know what? I'm actually doing really well. I think I'm doing better than I thought I would be. I was really nervous going into it, and so far it's actually been amazing.
What were you most nervous about? Was it like the viewership opinions? Was it the drama with the women? Like, what were you most sort of kind of anxious about going into this?
A bit of everything. I've done reality TV before. I did College Hill like over a decade ago. And when I did it, there was no social media. So I knew going into this, it's going to be a whole different ball game. So yes, so the viewers' opinions, and just everything overall. I was really anxious. I've actually lived a really private life prior to this. And it was just really nervous going into it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but it looks like all of you guys honestly are like pretty adept at social media, just in terms of like you have presences there. So it's not like, obviously this is a different level of like, feedback that you're getting, but at least like you guys are all sort of comfortable in that realm a little bit. At least it seems that way.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, social media is quite controlled, right? You pick and choose what you want to share with the world. When you're on a reality TV, they're going to get you, you're good, you're bad, your ups, your downs, and it's unfiltered. So I think that's the difference that I find with social media and then a reality TV show.
Totally. But for me, I mean, like, and I hope that you've been feeling this, but for me, like from the first couple episodes that we've seen with you, like from that first scene, those first couple scenes with your kids and Rich, and just like being at your house and just seeing your family life, like immediately to me, you were one of the most likable ones on this cast. You were like, everyone was really drawn to you, it seemed. And you just had this like easy way about you, but also you have the glam. So I think you hit both sides of it. And have you been feeling the love from the fans? Like, is it mostly positive reception that you feel like you're getting?
Absolutely. So I think I was like nervous for no reason. The fans have been absolutely amazing. People are so supportive. My kids, they thought we were shooting for YouTube until they went to school the other day, and the teacher's like, "Oh, I saw you on TV," and they're like, "TV? You mean on your iPad?"
Wild. To them, there's no difference to them, right?
But the best filming that I did was with my family, because that's when I'm most comfortable and confident. Like being a mom comes natural to me. This is what I'm doing every single day anyways. So definitely shooting with them was the best part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also like we're in the season now. So it's like not even just the drama on the show is happening, like the drama outside of the show is happening. We have some Twitter beef happening. So I want to kind of get into some of your relationships with some of the different women, but we'll start sort of with what I think is like a purely positive relationship that you have in your life, which was with Chanel Ayan, who you've said like you're always going to be Team Chanel. She's your best friend on the show. Is that loyalty and is that trust that you guys have? Is that really just from working together kind of over the years and then kind of that becoming a friendship in and of itself?
Yeah, so I met Chanel Leon like 2016, I believe it was. And she started off as one of my models. I didn't really have a lot of friends when I moved here, and she would always like take me out, like, hey girl, because no one even knew I owned Mina Rowe for many years. I'm just now letting the world know this. And so she would always say, come, let me introduce you to all these different people in the fashion industry. And we would start hanging out together, and one thing led to another. She is the funniest human being on the face of this earth.
Beyond.
If I'm having a bad day, to be honest, I call her every day. Just I know she's going to say something that's going to make me laugh. She's just naturally, authentically, unapologetically herself. And so I've always loved her for that. We've been friends over the years. She's actually the person that brought me onto the show. She's the one that put me forward to the casting directors.
Wow.
So I love her. Yes, my loyalty is to her, but not because of that, because she's genuinely a good person. She has a good heart. She means well, even sometimes when it doesn't come out that way. She's not coming from a bad place. And so I feel, for me, hands down, I'll always be Team Chanel Leon. She's a good person.
Mm-hmm. And so it must be fun for you to also, like, I mean, and again, you're all having your moments, but like Chanel Leon is obviously like, she's had these breakout moments already that like people are really latching onto. And her on Watch What Happens Live was like just a joy to watch. Honestly, it was epic.
Yeah.
It must be fun for you to watch her kind of have these moments too, as a really good friend of hers.
Yeah, absolutely. She deserves it all. And you know what? This is who she is. She's not pretending. And so I think the world gets to fall in love with her as much as I love her.
Mm-hmm. And I think what's fun, and I think you're an example of this, she's an example of this, is like we're already getting sort of like these fun kind of shady moments, but we're also hearing about your stories. And I think that's part of the reason why people love Housewives is we get the full 360 view of your lives. And I think that you two are both definitely giving us that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So she's also out here defending you on Twitter, or backing you up on Twitter, I should say. Because again, no, you don't need defending, but I think that her, you know, when I see some tweets and it's like she'll just be backing you up without even you asking, and she just like is like there for you in kind of these kind of like, you know, low level Twitter, whatever.
Say that part again for the people in the back. Low level.
Are you surprised the drama has escalated so quickly, like, and gotten onto Twitter?
To be honest, I actually am. I mean, I've been friends with some of these ladies for many years. They know who I am. They know my heart. They know I'm never coming from a bad place. So when I do see things escalate, especially I'm new to Twitter, so I'm not, you know, into all of these Twitter beefs and weirdness. It's like so beneath me, really. Yeah. And so, you know, seeing them attacking me over some fun shade, although there's a lot of truth to those shades and they know it, I feel like I think that's why they're offended, because they know there is some truth to the shade.
Got it. Well, I feel like also, I mean, part of being on Housewives is like, there's the fun shade and like, you have to be able to kind of take it and dish it. And like, that's just kind of how you move forward and like how you produce the entertaining shows. So, exactly. You know, people will learn, I think.
Hopefully they need to learn to understand the assignments.
All right, so one of the topics on Twitter is that, you know, you had said on the show that Caroline had, like, you know, it says Caroline Brooks says she's something different every week, and then you said I said what I said, and that now she's kind of like you said fighting with herself. Have you guys been able to hash it out at all offline, or where does it stand right now between you guys?
You know, to be honest, I feel like she didn't really have a moment in episode 2, so she felt the need to create one online. That's the backstory. And that's what I think happened. I would never, ever go after someone's lineage, right? She is literally something different every week. So when they asked me, you know, what did I think? I'm like, one week she's American, the next week she's Afro-Latina, the next week she's Jamaican, she's going to be Emirati the following week, right? And it was just fun shade. She says she's Jamaican. I've never once said she's not. I just said she's something different every week. Those words never came out of my mouth. And I feel like it was escalated, and she overreacted.
Yeah, again, it gets back to that. It is really sort of lighthearted, fun, just
yeah,
quips.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. If she said Lesa Milan is something different every week, I think I would just laugh at it. You know who you are. You're secure in who you are, so it shouldn't affect you. Well, it wouldn't affect me at least.
Yeah, and also, you guys are friends. It seems like you guys. I mean, right?
She knows me, so she knows my sense of humor. And yeah, I think it was blown out of proportion. And this is why I didn't really engage. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you do seem like the kind of person who, like, regardless of whatever, you're still going to tell your truth and what your opinion is. That's what exactly. I'm getting you from you so far. It's like, you're not going to beat around the bush.
Yeah. You're not getting an apology out of me. Like, not if I don't mean it, right. And I wasn't coming from a bad place. So I'm definitely not giving an apology. She is something different every week. And that week she was Jamaican. I'm not saying that she's not Jamaican. I'm just saying she's something different every week.
Got it. And then the other side of thing is that is also on the show, you were asked again, just about like what you had heard about what Nina had apparently said about Stanbury. And you said some of those things that she had said, and she said that you were putting words in her mouth and that you had an agenda. And then you responded that you brought her on the show. So
yeah.
So, okay, let's break it down a little bit. So when was it that she was that you said that she was saying bad things about Stanbury? Was it way before filming started back in the day?
So when Caroline Stanbury started trying to befriend us, she was like, be careful of her. Lesa, I'm super low key in Dubai. Like, I'm super low key. I don't really hang out with a lot of people, but I go out. I am in the social circle and the scene. So I do run into people. I do meet people. So back then, when Stanbury was trying to befriend me, Nina, who I've been friends with for many years, she was like, you know what? Be careful of her. I've heard so many things about her. I've heard this, I've heard that. So when we started filming, for them to like become best of friends out of nowhere. And I was hearing also that she was throwing me under the bus. I was like, well, that's very two-faced, because you were the main one that told me to be careful of her. And you're not taking your own advice, one. And you've said some really horrible things about her. Now, she didn't say ratchet ghetto, but she said trashy. And ratchet ghetto, trashy means the same thing. It's like somebody saying, oh, she called you a puta. And then somebody said, yeah, she said you're a bitch. Puta and bitch is the same thing, it's the same thing. I say ratchet, she says trashy. But trashy came from her, and it's the same thing. So for her to say that I had an agenda, I didn't have what agenda? What agenda? And yeah, I brought you onto the show because you're my friend. What agenda could I have had? So that was actually really hurtful and really offensive. She knows, one, I would never repeat things that would hurt anybody, right? Saying that you're trashy is just girl talk, right? Just shit talk. I would never repeat the really horrible things. So yeah, I'm not going to say you said something and then leave the viewers and everybody else wondering, what was it? So I just gave them the nicest thing that you said.
So there were a lot worse things that you said, that you're implying that you said, that you're just not going to repeat them.
100%.
Got it.
I spared her.
There we go. And then when you say you brought her on the show, it's just sort of what you suggested her for casting because she was a friend of yours? Yeah,
exactly. They casted they casted a lot of different girls in our friend group. So they would speak to one girl and then move on to, oh, do you have friends that you, because they build it around a real friend
naturally group. Exactly. And
no one else in our friend group referred her, but I did, because I've always loved Nina. She's always been a good friend of mine. And so the agenda thing was a reach.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that you guys will be able to get past this moment?
Well, I hope so. I actually thought it was so small and so petty, okay, yeah, I wasn't friends with you when I said these things, the end, move on, but I feel like I said about Brooks, everybody's dragging things. People who didn't have a moment in episode 2 were trying to create moments online.
There we go. And then the other thing I want to ask you about is, because I feel like I don't know how much we've seen of you and Stanbury together on the show yet, or at least one-on-one, but you told people that she's the one that you probably fight with the most. It's here and there, it's sometimes, not all the time, but what can you kind of tell us about what we can expect? Like, what do you guys spar over? Where do you guys clash?
I think we're both type A personalities. And it's been like that since we've met. And I've known her for quite some time now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just the type of person, I'm really outspoken. And I think for her, she's used to girls following behind her. And I'm a leader, I'm not a follower. I don't follow behind anybody. And if anything, she has to get in line. So with that said, I feel like because I'm such a strong person, she naturally doesn't take to me. And because I see what type of person she is, I naturally just don't take to her. We'll see what happens in the future, but we've been like this for a while. What you guys are seeing on the show is just our real lives being played out, real friendships being friendships. I use that word loosely. Being played out, and let's see where it goes.
Totally. How aware were you of, because you've obviously known her for years, but how aware were you of like kind of her Ladies of London years and sort of being on Bravo previously, and people, because a lot of people had expectations around her coming in? Okay.
I never saw the show, didn't even know it exists. I didn't know the show at all. And I think she was also offended by that, because I think one of the first things that we had when she met me, and I was like, no, what is that? And they're like, oh, it's a show on Bravo. And I'm like, I only know The Real Housewives on Bravo. And like a couple other really good shows like Married to Medicine and, like a few other shows.
Totally.
Southern Charm. But no, I've never heard of this show before. And I actually said I never lived in the UK. So, I didn't know it was like.
So, but she had this perception that everyone would know about it and know what her perception. Right.
Yes. And it was so funny because I'm like, well, do you know me? I was on College Hill. And she was like, no, what's that? But I didn't take offense to it. And I'm like, It was like #1 TV show for Black Americans back in the day, but I didn't care, people knowing and not knowing me doesn't make or break me.
And in some ways it's like it's kind of, as I would say, it's tit for toot, because it's like you both have previous shows who neither of you have heard of the other show, but like, okay, we're it's a wash. You know what I mean?
And I always prefer it to when people don't know who I am, because I feel like I get the genuine and more, I get a better version of them.
Yeah. So I think it's better in life to be able to prove yourself anew, regardless of what you've done in the past.
They not like my character on the show and probably like me in person. So I actually prefer it when I'm not prejudged. People just know me. It's a fresh introduction, and their first impression is what is lasting, not a TV show.
Totally. So in this week's episode, it's your first ever fashion show for Mina Rowe. It's you expanding beyond just maternity wear into everyday ready to wear. What were you with? I mean, because that's a big change. That's a big change for your line. I guess, like, what were you most nervous about in making that jump? Was it that, you're making a big investment in this whole other category? Like, talk me through sort of your thought process there.
Well, for me with Mina Rowe started when I was pregnant with my second son. And I couldn't find anything nice to wear in my first pregnancy. So by the time I was pregnant the second time around, Mina Rowe was about to be launched. And I feel with the brand, as I grow as a mom, as a woman, I find different needs that women need, and for me, after maternity, not finding maternity wear, the next step was I couldn't find clothes that weren't forcing me to snap back. Everybody on Instagram is snapping back. So I actually had baby blues after my first and second pregnancy. So by the time I had my third son, I was actually picking clothes from a rack completely separate to my pre-pregnancy wear. And so that kind of helped me mentally. And I was like, you know what? I think this is a problem that needs to be fixed. We can't fit into our pre-baby jeans right away. I feel like so many women, especially women who are on social media, we're so forced to like get our bodies back immediately because that's what the models and everybody else are doing. And that's not realistic. So the whole idea behind the brand was, what's the next step after maternity? And so I designed some of the pieces, but for the first time, I also worked with other creatives, which has never happened before. I'm a control freak, so that was actually one of the hardest things.
But collaboration's good. Collaboration's good, though.
Control freak. So being able to work with other creatives, other manufacturers, and bring their products into my store. That was also really, really different to what we're used to. But I think it's going to be epic. We are launching this week and I'm nervous, but I'm also excited. We've had really, really good previews. The fashion show was a huge success. And I'm just excited to see where Mina Rowe grows from here.
Yeah, I mean, and what better platform to have to help you grow it? And I mean, but it's not like you haven't had. I mean, you've also dressed some people, some really famous women who, I mean, I can say their first names if people know them. It's Serena, it's Beyonce, it's Chloe, it's Gigi.
Yeah,
you've dressed some amazing people. Which of those moments, or maybe another moment, sort of like was the most surreal for you, or even had the biggest impact on your business in terms of, you know, oh, I saw that person wearing it, I want to buy it.
Yeah, I think Beyonce, like the Beyonce effect is a real thing. When the other ladies wore our stuff, there wasn't like a lot of press and stuff behind it. Most of them, we just worked directly with their stylists.
Right.
But when Beyonce wore it, and she wore 2 of our pieces, it was just epic. There is a real Beyonce effect. I think our website crashed like 100 times.
Wow,
like no
that's
matter
wild.
expanded the bandwidth, we just kept crashing. It was amazing. Yeah. And shout out to Ty Hunter, her stylist. He's the one that connects Beyonce with us. And it's honestly, I'm so grateful to God for him because the brand took off after that.
That's amazing. That's and that's like it's great to hear it directly from the source, honestly, that like that's a real impact that somebody at her level can have.
A real impact. But you know what? I actually feel that same amount of pride, regardless who I
sure.
spot wearing Mina Rowe. You know, if I'm in the mall and I'm one of those girls too, I go up to her, she's wearing Mina Rowe, and I'm like, I love your dress. Where did you get it? You know, they have no idea that
Incredible.
I'm a designer.
Incredible. I love that.
Thank you. It's Mina Rowe. And I'm like, I love it. You need to shop and get more stuff.
That's incredible. Just and you also said on this episode that your husband is the CFO, and that when he initially invested in the company, he said that he was really investing in you and believing in you. Have you convinced him to also think about it as investing in the company? Like, is he convinced now that Mina Rowe is a success?
Well, Mina Rowe is a success.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mina Rowe is a huge success. But you know, my husband, what he does, he's in finance, he's in real estate, but he invests in a lot of startup businesses, right? And Mina Rowe was one of the startups that he invested in. And he said it, he was like, I don't really see maternity wear. I think it's very niche. You know, I'm investing in you because I feel like whatever you touch turns to gold. He always says that. And he knows my work ethic. He knows I work hard, and he knows if I put my mind to something, it's going to be successful. So his initial investment was not really into the brand. It was into Mina Rowe. But I think I've proven him wrong over and over and over again. I just need to get Mina Rowe up to like the status of some of his companies on the spreadsheet, and then he'll take me a little bit more seriously.
Well, it still must feel good though that like he, regardless of what it is, he's going to believe in you and your ability to make it a success, and your ability to be driven and build this whole whatever it would have been. But it's that must feel really nice to have that backing no matter what.
Honestly, the most supportive husband. If I tell him tomorrow that, I don't know, I want to go fly kites for a living, you know, he'd be like, babe, just fly that kite really well and make sure that you make some money doing it, you know?
And I loved hearing about when you said in that first episode, you met at Live on a Sunday. If you know, you know. Like, I was cracking up. That's amazing. That's iconic.
If you know, you know. To live on Sunday like a church. Yeah, that was us.
And I feel like Rich also has been getting some love from the Bravo accounts. People are ogling over him a little bit.
Too much love.
Is it going to his head already?
Social media. I need him to remain grounded. I think if he even had an idea, I get so many DMs with ladies asking me, like, does he have a brother? You know, are you guys into sister wives? Like,
no,
it's serious. The gays love him too. Oh,
I'm sure. Hello. That, hey, again, that must also be validating. If you know people are on board with Rich, I love it. So I wanted to finish off with a couple like little random things that I've been noticing about just like picking up on social media on some of the Bravo accounts, a lot of people think that you look like Megan Thee Stallion, and that's also pretty flattering. Have you seen that?
She's absolutely stunning. She's so beautiful. I love her. I love her music. I never thought of it before, but I've been getting it a lot. I actually showed Rich a photo of her, and he was like, "Oh, she's hot." And I'm like, and he's like, "Well, you're good." And I was like, "Okay, fine."
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's been a real thing.
So beautiful. I love her.
And then a lot of people have picked up that one of your confessional dresses is a dress or is similar to a dress that Monique Samuels once wore on Potomac. And again, another gorgeous person with amazing style like you. Have you seen that pop up too?
Yeah, I've seen that. I didn't even know that Monique wore that dress, but she looked absolutely stunning in it. She wore the long version.
Right.
To the dress, and I wore the shorter version. But she looked amazing in it. And I love Monique. She is so gorgeous. Oh my God.
Love her.
So yeah, like whatever.
And then you mentioned earlier that you were on a show before, College Hill. That was a big hit for BET back in the day. And again, like I like that you said that you like to sort of like people that you prefer when people don't know who you are, because it's you get to kind of restart or whatever. But there is, I feel like it also must feel kind of fun to have people who did love you back 14 years ago or whatever that was, and remember you, and because that's also kind of cool. You made an impact back then and you're making an impact now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? When I started with this show, I was like, you know what? I hope that my College Hill fans, they see my growth. I'm not the same 18-year-old girl that I used to be. I'm now a wife, a mom, an entrepreneur. And I think for them, I was hoping that they'll see that growth and hopefully inspire them in some way. You know, like I didn't just go to college and do nothing else in my life. You know,
right.
I moved on. I did really good things with my life, but you know, I took a lot from College Hill. I'm really proud of College Hill, but there were moments too that when I look back on it, I'm like, why?
I'm sure.
You know, but I've grown.
You were 18, right? Exactly.
Exactly.
There is the one quote that I see popping up, which is an iconic quote, which is, "It's not my fault. I look better than you. Go take that up with God." That's
period. Dot.
Amazing. That holds up. That holds up. And then lastly, I'm just curious, like, because from you were a beauty queen for a really long time and you won a ton of pageants, and that's obviously a different kind of stage and a different kind of spotlight to be in. But did you learn, is there anything that you kind of kept with you from those days that kind of has been helping you now as you have re-entered the spotlight in this very different way on an international stage?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? I'm a strong believer that every single thing that I had to do in my life prepared me for the moments that I'm having now. Right. And 100%, I'm the only girl in my tribe. Right. I only have 3 boys and my husband. I'm the only girl. And I grew up with only brothers. So the only real interaction I ever had with women came from pageantry. So thank God for pageantry. I know how to deal and handle these catty little bitches.
I'm sure. I'm sure you have the story. I'm sure you have stories to last a lifetime from those days.
Yes. Yeah. So that has definitely prepared me to deal with these women because they're so catty. So catty. It's unreal.
Well, Lesa, this has been so much fun, and I've having so much fun watching you on the show, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the season holds. Are there any plugs you want to do before we sign off? Like, where can we find out more about Mina Rowe and kind of keep up with what you're up to?
Yeah, absolutely. Mina Rowe's new collection, or new ready-to-wear collection, drops this Wednesday. So minarrowe.com.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much, Lesa. Have a good rest of your week. And again, looking forward to the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to We Should Talk. I hope you enjoyed the interview. You can find out more about In the Know at intheknow.com. You can follow me, Gibson Johns, at Gibsonoma on Twitter and Instagram. And you can listen to all of our interviews, past and future, by searching We Should Talk wherever you get your podcasts. Hope to see you next time.